This is the PR Podcast, a show about how public relations helps you tell your story to the world. We talk with great PR practitioners who have the skills, creativity, and just plain savvy to get their clients noticed. Now here's your host, Jody Fisher.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the PR Podcast. I'm Jody Fisher. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube. We are at the PR Podcast on YouTube, your favorite video online social media. Is it a social media network? I kind of call it a social media network. Maybe it's not. Who knows? It's definitely a teaching network for me. I watch videos to teach myself any number of things. Whether or not I actually absorb that teaching is debatable, but it's still interesting to me. And it's more fun to watch the show than to just listen to it. You can check us out on Apple and Spotify, but watch us on YouTube at the PR Podcast. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. We'll see you over there. Now let's get on with our show for today. We got a great return guest. Scott Baradell is the founder and CEO of Idea Grove, a nationally recognized PR and digital marketing agency that helps B2B organizations build visibility, credibility, and trust. Since launching the agency in 2005, Scott has advised startups, growing companies, and global brands on communications, reputations, growth strategy, and now AI. He is the author of Trust Signals, Brand Building in a Post-Truth World, and a contributor to Entrepreneur, and he's a frequent speaker on trust, PR, search, and AI. Scott, welcome back to the PR Podcast.
Thank you. I am honored to have been one of your early first guests back when you started 6 years ago, and I'm very excited to be back.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you are one, I think, of only two people we've ever repeated on the show. So hats off to you there. So you reminded me that this is your hat trick appearance, and I'm not a hockey guy, but I got the reference. Since we have had you on the show a couple times now, tell us about your journey from Trust Signals, that fantastic book, and we can get into what that means, to now and how that's been changing over the last couple of years.
Well, we're a digital marketing firm, but we're primarily a PR firm, and digital marketing has grown from that. And Trust Signals presented a very broad kind of picture of what a PR professional could be if you had a really vision beyond just doing media coverage to all the things that I call trust signals that people use online to validate a brand. So getting covered in the media is one of them. Online reviews are another, getting awards and certifications, influencer endorsements. These are all trust signals. So what I argued in that book, which came out in 2022, was, hey, for our brand's audiences, understanding that in today's world, one brand's audience might not be the same as another's in terms of the publications they read and everything's so polarized. In any case, find out what your audience's trust and be in those places. And why can't PR people do all those things instead of just saying, I'll do the media coverage part of it? Because that's always going to make you be in a more tactical role. But unfortunately, that's what most PR people have traditionally done. And that's why I wrote the book, is to make PR people think more broadly about what their profession could be, because it should be strategic. It should be an equal to marketing. So since then, I've tried to practice what I preach. The biggest thing that we did is in 2023, we really went all in on building a very strong SEO practice. And so we always did PR and content, but now we've got a lot of clients that are just SEO clients. And what that has created is our three competencies being PR, content, and SEO. And of course, that's very fortuitous in a world where AI recommendations are so important, because those are the three main competencies you need. And so where we are right now, I'm giving a very long answer to your question, but where we are right now is we built this kind of integrated set of competencies that started with PR but didn't end with PR. And now we're providing what we call a total visibility solution, where the ultimate goal is you get earned media, you rise in search results, you appear in AI recommendations, and all of those things are happening together. And that's kind of where we've taken the agency since the book came out.
Yeah, you are definitely singing off of my song sheet as well. I think you and I have always agreed that PR isn't just a newspaper article for a newspaper article's sake, and gee whiz, doesn't that feel good? It's got to have some end goal, right? It's got to drive your mission forward. It's got to, whether it sells more tickets to your museum or raises more money for your nonprofit or whatever your business goal is, your PR strategy and your earned media strategy needs to further you towards that goal. So, really interesting and great to hear you talk about how now the earned media is almost the jumping off point for all these other trust signals that are going out to the world. And now we pull in AI and sort of how all of that is also feeding AI that feeds things back to the consumer or back to us to teach us and to tell us and to guide us how to make those decisions about our life. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely right. What AI is doing is it's basically automating the same process that you were doing manually before. The example I use all the time because it's very true and very true to life is a former employee of mine from years back was having a baby, and she and her husband were shopping for their the baby's room. They had already basically busted their budget, and they still needed to buy a crib mattress. And so their immediate thought was, "Hey, we got to go get the cheapest crib mattress we can find." And then Lori, who's the name of the person who's our team member, she thought, "Oh, wait, she had seen an influencer say something about toxicity in crib mattresses and how you had to find one that was safe and blah blah blah." And so she went and she remembered about that influencer making that point, and then she did a Google search, and right at the top, she recognized the brand as the one the influencer talked about. And then she went and looked, and there were all these Google reviews saying what a great crib mattress this was. And then she went and found it had gotten this environmental certification. And then she saw that it had gotten an award from Parents Magazine. And she's going to all these places, and then she ends up on their website, and she's buying a crib mattress that was cost like 3 times what she had in mind. Those are trust signals. And every brand has a version of that. So what AI does, that research that Lori did, AI does that. And if it's doing it right, it's spitting out that brand, and it's telling you the citations, and it's saving you time. But we just did a survey of 1,000 people to kind of ask how they're using these AI recommendation tools, the Chat GPTs and Claudes and Perplexities. And 98% of the 1,000 people we surveyed said they will not buy anything just based on a Chat GPT recommendation. It's a starting point, but 98% said it's not enough. It'll give them a name to go research. So 45% of the people who when they seek a brand recommendation through an AI engine, 45% said they go straight to Google. So in other words, as opposed to a Google search that says best crib mattresses, they're doing a Google search with the brand name or brand names recommended by AI, but they're still doing the research. And 80% people said the single most important trust signal or data point that they used in ultimately making their decision were customer reviews. So all those things are important, and all those things are things that the AI is looking at. But what I love about it, Jody, we talked about before, one of the biggest challenges PR people have always had is in the terms of the marketing funnel, we're not bottom of the funnel, we're not middle funnel, we're not even top of the funnel, we're kind of above the funnel. And so being above the funnel, it's hard for sometimes very lead and sales oriented executives to sometimes see the value in PR. Well, AI is cut right through that. And so now that we know that 90% of AI brand recommendations are the result of earned media, we can draw a straight line like never before from our work as PR people, and whether that's earned media or this collection of other trust signals as well, directly to the brands that people are deciding on and buying and adding to their consideration set. So it's an exciting time for us, I think.
Is it kind of like chicken and egg there, where you are trying to get sales, right? That's your ultimate goal. And let's just focus on sales, where sales is, however anybody equates that to what they do. You're trying to get sales because you want to make money. But at the same time, you've got to invest in populating all these other trust signals that will eventually get you the sales. So, which should you be focusing on? And if you got to start somewhere, where do you start?
Well, it's so much harder to sell when people don't know who you are. So to me, it's a matter of scale. If you're at that level of maybe a small business where everything is relationship based, like, hey, I've just started out my financial consulting firm, Jody, and you've known me for years. You trust me. You know I wouldn't rip you off. Here's what I do. Here's my credentials. You can have those one-on-one conversations, and I can earn your trust that way. I've shown you trust signals by, the experiences we've had over the years and what you know about me as a person. But if you're really trying to scale, that only scales so well. What are you going to hire 10,000 salespeople who all have their own relationships and build trust one by one individually? No, you have to build that as a brand. Ultimately, if you think of the big picture, what marketing does is it scales the sales process. It takes what that individual salesperson would otherwise have the entire burden of doing, educating the customer, making them trust you, closing the deal, et cetera, et cetera. And it puts a lot of that, it accomplishes a lot of that for you. So thank goodness, then the salesperson, when they reach out to someone, they say, yeah, oh yeah, I've heard of you guys. Or yeah, yeah, I saw that you guys won this award, or I read about you and so so. That makes the salesperson's job so much easier. And then, Jody, as we know, not only that, but in a lot of cases, people don't want to talk to a salesperson at all anymore. They just want the salesperson, if they have to be involved, to just be an order taker. They will have totally made their decision before. So to answer your question, you can start out trying to just get sales, but it's going to be a whole lot harder as you try to grow if you're not establishing brand trust out there.
As you're building those trust signals, whether it's that publishing on LinkedIn or it's that earned media coverage or any other number of things, you also might be battling misperceptions and even misinformation about who you are, what you do, what you stand for, all those kinds of things. Should you be worried about that? And are there ways to push back or combat against those things? Is it just heaping more quantity of your stuff on top of that stuff to kind of, the old strategy of pushing it down in Google? How do you combat things that you don't want people to think about you?
Yeah, I mean that's the old reputation management challenge, and online, the story has always been, yeah, there's always these kind of somewhat uh, questionable firms that will say, we'll file legal letters and blah blah, and we'll get these negative reviews or these things taken down. Um, but ultimately, the thing to do is to counteract them with more positive things. If you've got some negative reviews in your Google reviews or on a review site, G2 or whatever it might be, um, get some positive reviews. Go solicit from your happy customers. If it's employee reviews on Glassdoor, solicit from your employees to get, because it just the nature of reviews is unsolicited, it's more likely to be negative than positive. People don't out of the blue decide to go write a 5-star review for somebody. Usually they do it because someone say, hey, if you've been happy with this experience, would you mind doing this? And you're like, sure, you've been great. But they don't think to do it unless you nudge them. On the other hand, if you've been really pissed off by something, even if it's something that rarely happens, that a company, that's the experience that's going to go straight to Google because they're mad and they got to get it out somewhere. And that's just the nature of it. So you have to battle the negative with positive. There's so many great companies that are doing great things, but they're just doing the great things and they're not doing the things to push that positive story out there. So that's just one example of that. I'll tell you, Jody, what something that's happened to me that I'm dealing with for a while. I don't know what started it, if it's some kind of bot. It seems to be bot generated, but this is a true story. For over 2 years now, once a month, I've gotten a 1-star review on Glassdoor for my agency. And it's always this very general language that's so random and weird and has nothing to do with us, or people, we don't have any interns, haven't had any interns in a couple of years now. So I'm an intern at Idea Grove, and All these horrible things happen. They work me 24 hours a day. They're verbally abusive. All this stuff. Well, I was just kind of, we had a good star rating. I wasn't too worried about it. We weren't doing a lot of hiring, but after about 6 or 7 months of this, I was like, this is really weird and this is wrong. So I wrote to Glassdoor and explained the situation and showed them the reviews. And fortunately, they took them down. But they kept going. So literally every 6 months, and this is for 2 years now, I go to Glassdoor and I say, look, these are fraudulent reviews. I don't know where they're coming from, but they should be removed because here's why they're not attached to reality. And they've just been they've done that. They've done what really is their job. But you could really mess up there. Who knows? Maybe there's a competitor out there who set this up. I can't know. There's no point in dwelling on it. But this kind of thing can happen to any company, and you have to be prepared to deal with it, or else that's what your reputation is going to be. We have a client that I won't go into too much detail, but they have someone who, frankly, had an axe to grind, who wrote very negatively about them on Reddit. And that ended up appearing very high in their search results when you search for them by name. So in their case, we worked with a agency that is a Reddit specialist, not to try to have that removed, but to um, start a branded subreddit and do a lot of things to put useful, helpful information out there to create a fuller picture that this is actually a good company and a cool company, and you should find out more about it. And don't listen to this one person who was pissed off about something.
Well, the reality is that there's always going to be one person out there, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like you identified it correctly, and that's just completely fraudulent. But the reality is there's always going to be someone out there who doesn't like your restaurant, someone out there who doesn't like your product, someone that doesn't like your movie, and that's just all swell, as far
Well,
as I'm concerned, right?
yeah, let me give you another example how often this happens. We had a client that did software for schools, for public schools, so elementary education primarily, and it was software that would help with tracking your grades and things like that. Well, they had a ton of Google reviews, and they were like a 1.5 star, and they're like, this is really bad. But then we looked into it, and 80% of those negative reviews were from the kids. That's not the customer. They're the kids. They're mad they had to, they got a bad grade or whatever. And so we were able to get a whole bunch of these reviews removed by explaining the situation to Google. Too many, this company had let that go on for a long time without really researching it to figure out, oh, this is a solvable problem. That's why sometimes it's good. Look, these businesses, they got their own stuff to do. So that's why it's sometimes good to hire somebody to help.
In venturing out in a, let's call it a trust campaign, right? To borrow your concept here, are there platforms or strategies or methods that are, my word here, stickier than others? If I'm going to go out, should I be investing in trying to get news coverage? Should I be publishing like crazy on my LinkedIn? Should I be going to town on Reddit? What are some of the ways that you've encountered influence, trust, and influence, maybe even AI, a little bit more than others? Have you looked into that?
Yeah, and I think the top three sources right now on most LLMs are Wikipedia, Reddit, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn definitely for B2B is number one, but mostly not LinkedIn posts. It's more LinkedIn articles. A lot of people don't take advantage of writing those LinkedIn articles, but those tend to be cited much more than LinkedIn posts. So those are the kind of things that you do a little research. It can be helpful. But ultimately, big picture, earned media is where it's at. I'll tell you one thing that's changed is this is not, this has been a great thing for PR people because in terms of the types of earned media, it's going to be tier one media and it's going to be media in your industry. So those are going to have the most credibility, like your top trade publications or your top vertical publications, or then the tier ones. Those are the ones that are going to help you the most and be cited the most for you and help you the most in AI. And I would focus on that even much more so than I would focus on Wikipedia, that you're not supposed to mess with anyway. Reddit, which brands, it's a double-edged sword. Getting very involved in Reddit, you have to be careful with it, and it's unpredictable what the results are going to be. And LinkedIn, it's always good to publish on LinkedIn. You should be doing that anyway. So publish on LinkedIn, do more articles relative to posts, and do get more earned media. But something that's really interesting, Jody, that I haven't seen anybody write about, I was thinking about writing something on it, is while this AI recommendation phenomenon through AI engines is great for PR people and earned media, who it's hurt is influencers. It's hurt influencers because I mentioned that story before, the crib mattress. Well, it was Instagram influencers that were a big factor in Lori getting on the path. Well, the AI engines don't generally like short form video. They don't tend to cite, say, influencer endorsements and things like that as part of the results. They're much more likely to cite something that appeared in a trade publication. So while from an audience standpoint, you're maybe more likely to reach the right audience directly through that influencer, if you're going through AI, you're much more likely to influence the AI through a trade media story that maybe your audience wouldn't have even read. So you kind of have to work at both levels.
Yeah, it's kind of juggling all the flaming chainsaws at once, as it were. You uh
Exactly.
you mentioned the kids, and let's finish out our conversation here on the people coming up, because I know you and I also share the same philosophy that we're always trying to help the people who are coming up after us, because we had people who helped us and we want to pay it forward. Um, but obviously AI is at least scaring the bejesus out of everybody, if not actually having an impact. You've got layoffs and all kinds of things, and big tech companies and stuff. But the optimist, and we talked about this before the call, might say, well, we just need to figure out what the new set of skills are. Um, in working with the young people who are at your agency and talking with the young people who you talk with, what are some of the critical skills that you think people coming up in our industry, in the PR industry, need to be practicing, whether that's AI or LLMs, or whether it's any other form, even honing your earned media, changing how you find earned media coverage. What are some of the critical skills that new job seekers, or even people who are within the first 5 years of their career in PR, need to be learning?
Yeah, it's a really good question because I know that entry-level jobs in PR have definitely been negatively affected. I think it's going to be temporary. A lot of people think, oh, no more entry-level jobs ever. I don't think that's the case. They used to say that, with social media, and then after a while they said, oh, these kids coming out of college, they know social media better than a lot of the people who've been there for 10 years. So I think in this case it's like younger people are in the best position always, I think, to embrace new technology, and if they really do that, then they can come into the workforce ready to help. They're already using these tools better than people who are veterans. um, However, what I would say is, um, you know, the it's a double-edged sword because I don't think, like, we use AI all the time in almost everything we produce. However, and this is probably true for you too, I can sometimes spend a whole lot of time getting something the way I want it. And and that's because I'm a writer. I didn't use AI to write that book, and I haven't used AI to for all these years, right? And so I can bring all that experience as a writer to bear, that when I use AI, I'm not letting AI use me. You know, I'm actually leveraging what it can do while recognizing its limitations. So I think the biggest challenge is, can young people hold on to, and can they be taught that it's still really important to know how to write? It's really important to have these knowledge sets, because that's what you add. You can't just be spitting out something that's coming. That if that's all you're doing, no, they don't need to hire you. They can ask ChatGPT themselves. So you have to figure out, and I think this is hard, a real battle for a lot of young people and a lot of schools. What's the balance? How do you draw it? You've got to figure out how to maintain yourself, learn how to add value while also understanding how to really use these tools. So that's a tricky balance. And so I think, especially right now, it's also new. It's probably a big challenge in a lot of schools and for a lot of young people, but they'll get through it. It's not permanent.
Yeah, and I think as long as we have people who are, like we said, looking out for those young people coming up, helping them along the way, we'll be in good shape. Scott, thanks for being on the show again today. For appearance number 3, always appreciate your perspectives.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it.
We are not done with you yet, however. We are going to segue now into the rapid fire question portion of our podcast. This is where we steal a page from inside the actor's studio. We ask our guests a series of rapid fire questions meant to elicit a simple answer, maybe a laugh or two. With your indulgence, Scott Baradell, let's begin. And we'll see if these answers have changed with rapid fire question number 1. What's your favorite news source?
This has changed because it used to be, I like aggregators, so it used to be 538, but ABC put that out of business. So I've been using Real Clear Politics a lot.
Good one. Rapid fire question number 2. What's your favorite social media platform?
I confess I'm a TikTok addict.
Me too. Great way to blow 45 minutes.
Or 5 hours.
Like 4. Oh, it only feels like 4. Right. Rapid fire question number 3. Coffee or alcohol?
First one, then the other. I try to start with coffee, and we'll see at what time of day I transition.
Very good. Very good.
It
Rapid
depends
fire
on the
question.
stress level.
Yeah, exactly. And the day of the week. Rapid fire question number 4. What's your favorite on the run food?
Oh, I love tacos. I'm in Texas, so.
Who doesn't love tacos? Come on.
Maybe one of the few who actually likes Jack in the Box tacos, though.
Oh, we used to have Jack in the Box where I was, where I grew up. I haven't seen one in years, though.
We have one right near my house. Yeah, that's heart attack in a hard shell.
I love it. And rapid fire question number 5. What do you want to be after you finish this career? I don't think you've got finish in your vocabulary, Scott.
Oh man, I got 5 kids, the youngest of whom is 6. So I think my career is going to finish me. I don't think I'm going to finish it.
That's fine. We'll just keep pumping it out. Scott, this has been a great conversation. Please let people know how they can find you online.
Well, our agency is Idea Grove, so you can go to ideagrove.com. If you want to find out about the ideas around trust signals, we've got a separate thought leadership site called trustsignals.com.
We'll put all the links in the show notes. Scott, thanks again for joining us today. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the show. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The PR Podcast, and send us a question or a comment. Our intro is by Christopher Appold. You can find him and his fantastic photography on Instagram at Christopher_APPOLDT. Check him out there and hire him for all your photography needs. You can find me online at Jody Fisher on all the socials and on the web at jodyfisherpr.com. We'll see you next time on the PR Podcast.